What's up, boys and girls? How are you doing? Your unknown friend Jose Gabriel gets you, and I'm glad to begin the first chapter of this show called Procedures to Reach a Common Agreement, in which we will talk about various topics with various people. This episode 1 of our podcast, but there will be more and other announcer. Well, on this special occasion, we have a special guest, the Mexican travel Daniel Arriaga, or better known as Danielito Comunica. How are you?
Hey Gabriel, everything is excellent here. And how are you doing? Thanks for inviting me to your show.
It is a pleasure to have you, brother. You know why we invite you, right?
Because you told me that you wanted to visit Yucatan, but you don't know what the people are like there or what you can do. But don't worry, Danielito Comunica brings you information from all the places you want.
Oh, okay, I like that. What can you tell me?
Well, I will recommend you dress according to the area you go to. It is also very comfortable.
They are like cotton, right? Yes, they are really comfortable. I could wear them all day.
Yes, I think the same. I also recommend you buy handicrafts. They are beautiful, really, and help the local economy.
Hey, you are right. What I admire most is the work that is done, and how beautiful they are at the end.
Yes, exactly. And that is the reason why I always try to buy those little details.
Okay, and what can you tell me about things that under no circumstance should I do?
For example, never despise or criticize the traditions of the natives who live there.
Of course, nobody should be told anything for what they believe.
Yes, and it even has a story behind it. You always have to respect. Did you know that there are people who steal elements of the fauna and flora of the place?
Oh, I didn't know. Do they really? Why?
Perhaps because of the exotic. But it is wrong. It is because of something that the species develops in that place.
I agree with you. How about you give me one last recommendation for myself and anyone who wants to visit somewhere, in this case, Yucatan?
Yeah, bro, of course. Last but not least, respect the sanitary measures. It is for the good of all and ours.
You heard, friends, this virus exists and it must be prevented. As you have seen, this podcast will be short with relevant information that may interest you and serve. Thanks to Danielito Comunica for accepting our invitation.
No, bro, thanks to you. I know that you and your friends will go far. See ya.
See you, Daniel. Well, we have reached the end. We hope you like it and are in the next episode of Procedures to Reach a Common Agreement. Bye bye.
Hey guys, welcome to Procedures to Reach a Common Agreement. My name is Chuy, and also here's my friend Adriana. We're going to talk about two different topics, which will, the way, very interesting. Also, in the end of the podcast, we will give some tips or kit about habits. Welcome to favorite podcast.
Hi everyone, that's right. I'm very excited about this podcast. It's very interesting for me to see how people's lifestyle has changed. Don't you think that? But tell me, Chuy, have you ever asked your parents what their life was like before?
Of course, I have. My parents always tell me that things. For the generations, I have very easy for the technology. My parents used to walk a lot of get to the school, and the information could be found so easily. So they had to go a library.
Oh, my parents used to do that too. How about communication? Can you imagine your life without a cell phone?
Oh, definitely no.
Oh, my parents used to do that too. How about communication? Can you imagine your life without a cell phone?
Oh yes, I can imagine it. And what about fashion? Do you like the fashion from the 80s, Adri?
Me neither, but people used to write letters to communicate each other and it took a long time to reach their destination. Imagine how difficult it was to communicate.
Oh, really? Are you used to wearing them?
Just some things. I love the baggy pants that people used to wear in the 80s.
Oh, yes, I love the fashion for the 80s. Sometimes I see photos for my parents, and I see how my dad to dress, and I really like the way it looks. Triple jeans and oversized shirts. However, many things of that fashion are returning to the present.
Yes, I'm used to wearing baggy pants. How about you? Do you like the fashion from the 80s?
I've thought about it a lot, but I don't really. Many things in their lifestyle were nice, such as the communication in relationships. Since as they didn't have too much energy as now. People used to enjoy the time and they had with their family or friends and weren't always on their cell phone. But many things were also bad and I prefer the generation that I'm now.
Wow, I really like the way you think, and I also agree with you. Now, we are going to move on to another topic about habits. I think that all the people have had some bad habits, whether it be eating a lot of junk food, drinking a lot of soda, sleeping late, and even worse, habits like drinking alcohol or smoking. But how can we leave that bad habit?
Building an old habit and replacing it with a new one isn't overnight. It's difficult to get it a bad habit, especially if you have been doing it for a long time. But with practice, it can be achieved. What the people recommend the most is to observe yourself and find out when and why you are doing that bad habit, and as soon as you notice that you're practicing your old habit, stop yourself and start new alternative behavior you practiced or previously.
It's very interesting what you said, but I think that by adding some examples, it can be better understood. For example, I was used to drinking a lot of soda. I hardly ever drank water, but now I got used to only drinking water. At first, it was difficult, of course, but little by little, you substitute one habit for another. Would you like to give us another example, Chui?
Yes, of course. If I used to sleeping late and I used to fall asleep at 5 in the morning. And waste my time and in the day by getting to up too late. But now I'm getting way to sleeping earlier.
I hope you get used to sleeping early soon.
Thanks. Well, this is the end of the chapter. I hope you like and see a new chapter. Goodbye and follow this podcast. This is the best podcast in Mexico.
Take care too. See you.
Interesting the information presented by Chuy and Adriana. We continue, and it's me again, Gabriel, and as the Mexicans say, ya llegó por quien lloraban. Well, it's an expression that they use to refer to the fact that the one they missed has returned. But hey, it doesn't matter. We will continue with our next guest, but we will let him introduce himself.
Hello, I am Angel, as everyone knows. I am one of the best known tourists in the world after Luisito Comunica. I am very grateful that they have invited me.
Of course, Angel, we are glad that you are here with us. Well, before starting with the questions, tell us what has been your favorite travel experience?
Well, it's difficult to choose one, but I think it was that travel to China.
Why the trip to China?
It was because I traveled in the time of the Chinese New Year. In those days, I observed many Chinese traditions, such as one that calls it Wuxi, which means lion dance, and Wulong, which means dragon dance. Besides this, they have many others that I will not have enough time to talk about it, but everything was very nice.
I find everything you tell us very interesting, Angel. I hope one day to be able to travel to China and learn about all these customs and traditions. Well, I want to ask you, Angel, in addition to celebrations and holidays, what differentiates China from the rest of the world? What things about their culture caused the most impact on you?
You mean like things that will not be very common in other places?
Yes, exactly.
Oh well, things like the fact that they use chopsticks to eat is very much their own.
I think that is something of general culture. Why you don't tell us the reason why they do that?
In fact, the answer is very simple. The Chinese people began to use chopsticks in ancient times to avoid using their hands. This was for avoid diseases.
Oh, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. Well, and what other interesting thing could you tell me about China's culture?
Well, I think in this moment I can think many things, but going back to the Chinese New Year, did you know that the celebration lasts 50 days?
I didn't know that. You most definitely love that celebration.
That's right. During those days, all the streets of China are flooded with people. In addition to that, the streets are painted red and yellow during this holiday. It is something truly amazing.
Just listening to what you just told me makes me want to go to China and experience it for myself.
I really recommend it. Well, I think I got excited talking about this topic. My participation has come here. Thank you very much to all who are listening to us. And thank you, Gabriel.
On the contrary, the pleasure is mine, Angel. Well, let's go back to Adriana and Choi. Well, let's go back to Adriana and Choi.
Hi guys, how are you? Today finally we are back. Me and my friend Adriana. You guys met her in the last podcast. How are you, Adriana?
I'm great, thanks for asking. I'm so excited to be here. How have you been?
It be awesome. So Adriana, tell us what are we going to talk in this podcast?
Well, today I'm so excited for this topic. We are going to talk about some rules. Well, I can say that are rules, but are like some advices to be successful in any profession.
Wow, that's an interesting. So that's right, guys. Adriana and I will give useful tips. I'm going to start saying that it's very important to be punctual. Don't you think, Adriana?
Yes, that's right. Sometimes I think it's the most important tip.
Really? Why you think that?
Well, if you are punctual, you demonstrate attitude. Here in Mexico, most of the people are used to being always late, but in some countries it's very important being in time.
That's a very good point. Are you used to be in time?
Yes, my mom always have been very punctual and she taught me that.
Oh, it's a good habit. Well, the next tip is to be kind. Please always be kind to the people. It doesn't matter that they aren't your boss or something like that. You may need their help someday.
That's an important point because some people are disrespectful to other people just because they think that they are superior to them.
That's right.
Well, the next tip is very important. It is also one of the most important tips and it's don't procrastinate. It's a horrible habit. This tip will only help you in your work or in the school. This tip will help you your entire life.
Wait, what? Why?
Cause don't put off until tomorrow what you can accomplish today.
It's a good tip. However, sometimes it's really hard to not procrastinate.
Yeah, it becomes easier. The next tip is that you have to dress up according to the place you are working in. It may sound irrelevant, but if you look good, you will give a good impression of yourself.
The next tip is be organized. Order what you have to do by important so you don't miss anything. And then if you organize your times, you will be able to do activities that you like and then it will be no easier to not procrastinate.
Yeah, it becomes easier. The next tip is that you have to dress up according to the place you are working in. It may sound irrelevant, but if you look good, you will give a good impression of yourself. Well, dressing well doesn't have to be expensive. You have to know what to dress for each occasion and look for good deals.
That's also related to take care of you, hygiene. So you also have to give a good image of yourself. Make sure to use perfume.
Oh, I have many perfumes. I love them. And well, last but not least, be positive. You reflect what you feel. Sometimes it's hard to have a smile on your face all day, and it's normal. Some days aren't that good, but if you think positive, you will look happier and eventually you will be happier.
Yes, and also other people will think you are a nice person and they are going to want to be with you.
That's right. So, this is the end of this podcast. I hope that you like it.
Yes, it's sad. We're going to miss you guys, but see you later.
See you.
Thanks for watching this podcast.